All right, so they say a magician should never reveal his secrets. Well, I'm gonna spill mine. I'm not a musician. I'm not even a golfer. I'm just a wannabe golfer. Anyway, I guess I play golf. So I want to show you how I make the little videos where it looks like I'm playing inside the game, Fire Golf or whatever simulator I'm using. So what I do is I set myself up in the living room, and you'll see here. Let me move that back down, and I record myself playing the game. Okay, and then what I do is I make a video of this. So I do a screen grab of playing the game. So here I'm setting everything up to play this game on Fi Golf 2 or Pi Golf, whatever you want to call it. And then I import them in my editor. So this is CapCut, which you may be familiar with if you use TikTok. So CapCut is their editor, and they've made it available for PC and Android and iPhone. So you can download the editor and use them on your phone. I On my phone I usually use InShot. So to me, it's a little better editor than CapCut, but they don't have a PC version. I wish they did because it's excellent and it doesn't cost that much. So this has you can do a free version too, which works well. It just doesn't have all the bells and whistles that you may want to use. So um, then this is a paid version of CapCut. So just to let you know. So I've imported all the video parts that I needed, and I've added a few sound effects. So there's a driver sound effect, an iron sound effect, and I think even a chipping sound effect I put in here. So what I've done, if I've taken these videos and I've put them on the video tracks. There's three tracks here, one for the sound effects that I'm using, and the two where I've made it the videos. So how do I get myself in there like this? So this has, and I'll click on it. This has a thing on the CapCut, as well as most editors nowadays, um, has a background removal tool. So in InShot, it's just cutout. In this, it's remove background. And so when you do the auto remove, what it'll remove the background in the video that I imported of myself playing the game. So it takes a little bit of time. You can actually make it more detailed. You can trace around yourself and cut stuff out, and then do the background removal. That would be under mask if you want to do that. Um, but basically, it removes the background, the living room that was around me when I was playing. So then I resized myself to fill in, and because there's two tracks, one's layered on top of the other. So the top one here that I'm under on this is on top of the gameplay capture, screen capture. So and then I just move things around to make it look closer to like if I was standing there. So if I'm on a tee box at the golf course, this one being Pebble 72 HD, so it looks like I'm standing there. So anyway, there's this thing that you have to do to it that make it look like. So if you notice when I scroll this forward, now it'll look choppy at first because it's just in the edit mode. Let me move this around. So what I do is I find where I've hit it, and I'll align them. So here I found where I hit the ball, and my swing is horrible. I know I'm over the top here. So I've hit about where I would hit a show where I'm hitting the ball. Okay, and then I matched it up in this video where I've hit it. So what I did is I marked it the same, and then I aligned these marks up so they're in the right position. You have to do a little cutting and moving around of the video to get it to in the right spot so it looks like I'm hitting it. So that to me was about right. So that's what I did, is I put that in there. And then what you have to do, and this is the hard part. This thing, so it has a thing called keyframes. Um, uh, this one is not as easy to use as it is an InShot, and I've also have Power Director, and it's a little bit easier to use in Power Director. I like that actually a lot, but it doesn't do a cutout that well, so I use this one to do the cutout better. Anyway, so there's these little dots that you add to the deal to make it look so you can move the object down. And I mean, let me see if it'll show it. So what I did is I drug every movement and then it placed a keyframe. Once I've added one, and it adds another one every time I make a movement. So all I did was move it down to give it the appearance that the screen is moving forward and I'm staying back. And then I cut myself out completely when it got to where it might be out of view. So I'm just guesstimating that's what it would look like if I was hitting the ball, right? So then when I play this in live, full speed, it's going to look like the ball is going and I'm not. So that's how you do that. You use the keyframes. Now, like I said, these are harder to use than some other programs, but it works. So that's how I do that. And so then I go along the video and I add the places and cut out places that I don't need. So after the ball flight, I no longer need to be in the video, right? And this is still an editing process. I haven't matted anything back down. And we're going to move the slider so I can get closer to where the next shot is at. So what I do is then once it's done, once it landed and everything like that, I go to the next shot and just do the same thing over again. And I try to put myself in the position as if I'm standing there. So if I'm actually on the golf course itself and where the golf club is setting and the ball and everything, I don't get it perfect. It's close. Usually I'd be further up on this, I think. And then I would want to appear like I'm hitting. So it's 92.1. Usually I would hit maybe a pitching wedge, soft pitching wedge, or a full approach wedge or something like a gap wedge at 92 yards. So, but I didn't really adjust myself to make it look that way. I just swing in. So I need to do a better job at that when I record the next one. So anyway, I do the same thing where I use the keyframes and the markers to match up. First, I use the markers to match up where I hit the ball right there. So that looks like impact, and I just matched it up with a video. I move the videos around to where they match up to where it looks like I'm hitting the ball. And then I cut out the rest in the keyframes. After the keyframes, make it look like this one was easy because it's a quick hit. So you wouldn't see me still usually off, I'm off camera. So in other words, so the ball travels to the position, and this part I'll cut out where it's got the little guy here. Eventually I'll cut it out. Now this one was easy because it moves slow enough. I've got probably a lob wedge, and still I'm not close enough where I should be, but it works what I'm trying to do here. And then so I hit the ball, and then I added these keyframes in here. See the little diamonds to make it look like I move out of position when the ball's in the air and everything. So basically, that's how I do that. And all I do is I go through it. It's not. Sometimes it takes a little while to get the keyframes right. Like I said, this editor here, it's a little harder. And there's not a label here that says keyframes. You have to find it. So it's a little harder. This one was even harder. So the putting's harder because it takes. So I would still be in the frame usually if I'm actually standing on a green. And so I want to show that real close. Let me get that closer up here. So I matched, so where the mark is at, where I hit the ball, there's it right there. So I've added a marker so I know where that's at. And then I just added, let me show you the keyframes in here. So all these little diamond shaped are my movement out as I scale back the frame, but it looks like the ball is rolling forward. Of course, it is in the main part of the video, but me standing there, I'm not really moving, but I'm making it look like that the camera is moving away from me. So you got it? And then eventually I disappear, which I don't know if that's to scale or not. I mean, it's close enough to where it makes it appear that way, where I would move off camera. Anyway, so eventually what I want to get better at, if you go back to where where I hit the wedge. So as you can see, once the ball rolls past the hole, it gets to a spot. And in real life, the camera would, if it's somebody's videoing this standing there, they would pan out where you would eventually see me on the opposite side standing there still. So let me get back to that spot. So right in here, you would see me standing over here somewhere still. So I want to get better at that, and then do like a reverse. And you can't do it with this because it doesn't show the other side of my face. I'm sure there is a way to make it look that way, to manipulate it, but I'm not going to go that far. But anyway, that's how I do that. That's how I make these little videos. So I just recorded my gameplay with a screenshot, and then with a screen capture, and then of course recorded myself hitting the ball or swinging. And so anyway, I don't know if anybody thinks that's pretty neat or whatever, but that's more detail of how I do it. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching. I'm going to run this right through so we know what it looks like, what it's going to look like. And like I said, I'm not through editing this. Let's start it over. But this is what it would look like. Let me see.
Ready.
See, I added the sound effect in there for hitting the ball. Normally I wouldn't hit 275. That was a long hit. And so that part I've got to cut out where I'll bring it more close to where I'm actually hitting it. And there's another sound effect I added to it. It usually I must have had the sound turned off, like the background sound or something. I don't remember.
Ready.
This one was decent. I think also I want to get better at scaling myself. But see, yeah, I would put normally myself over here where I've hit the ball. This was the hardest part because it doesn't take any time, because it moves faster than it's hard to scale yourself out correctly. But here I'm aiming because of the break, and I'm not going to keep that part in there probably.
Ready. Nice shot.
And I got a lucky par on that. So there you go. Hope that, I don't know if it's any interest at all to anybody, but I just thought I'd show the process of doing it. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching.